Hello everyone, and this is Matematik. In this video we will talk about decimals. Probably the majority of you knows what decimals are, and have some kind of understanding of them. The purpose of this lesson is to refresh and improve your understanding of decimals, and to help you see a pattern between decimals and fractions. I'm sure you're familiar with fractions 1 over 2, 1 over 3, and 2 over 3. And you probably know their equivalency in the decimal format. 1 over 2 equals to 0.5. 1 over 3 equals to 0.333, and so on. This is an infinite decimal. 2/3 equals to 0.6666, and so on. It is also a continuous repetitive decimal. Now let's talk about decimals whenever we divide things by 4. So 1 over 4 is 0.25. 2 over 4 is the same as 1 over 2. And as you remember from the previous slide, 1 over 2 equals to 0.5. And 3 over 4 equals to 0.75. Now let's talk about decimals whenever we divide things by 5. So 1 over 5 is 0.2. 2 over 5 is 0.4. 3 over 5 is 0.6. 4 over 5 is 0.8. Now we'll talk about division by 6. 1 over 6 is 0.16666, and so on, and the 6's are repetitive in this decimal. 2 over 6 can be simplified to 1 over 3, and as you remember, 1 over 3 equals to 0.3333, and so on. 3 over 6 can be simplified to 1/2, and 1/2 is 0.5. 4 over 6 can be simplified to 2 over 3, and 2 over 3 is an infinite decimal of 0.66666, and so on. And finally, 5 over 6 can be written as 0.83333, and so on. In this decimal, the 3's are repetitive, and this is a continuous decimal. We'll skip the division by 7 portion and return to it later. Right now we'll talk about division by 8. 1 over 8 is 0.125. 2 over 8 can be simplified to 1 over 4, which is 0.25. 3 over 8 is 0.375. 4 over 8 can be simplified to 1 over 2, and 1 over 2 is 0.5. 5 over 8 is 0.625. 6 over 8 can be simplified to 3 over 4, and 3 over 4 is 0.75. 7 over 8 is 0.875. In order to find the decimal format for any of the fractions shown, you just need to remember that 1 over 8 is 0.125, and to find the other fractions you just need to multiply 0.125 by the numerator or the top part of the fraction. The same kind of idea applies to the fractions shown previously. Now let's talk about division by 9. So 1 over 9 is 0.1, with the 1 repeating continuously. And basically this is all you need to know for the division by 9. There is a pattern for the rest of the fractions. 2 over 9 is 0.2 continuous, 3 over 9 is 0.3 continuous, and basically there is a pattern up till 8 over 9. Let me quickly write the rest of the fractions so you'll know their equivalency in decimal format and see the pattern. I'm sure you know the decimal equivalency of the 10 in the denominator. So I'll just quickly write them down so you can see the pattern. So here's the decimal equivalency of fractions with the denominator of 10. Now let's talk about fractions with the denominator of 11 and their decimal equivalency. 1 over 11 is 0.09, where the 0.9 part is repetitive, which means that the fraction will be 0.090909 and so on. 2 over 11 is 0.18, where 18 part is repetitive. The 2 over 11 part can be calculated by multiplying 0.090909 by 2. Now let's write the rest of the fractions and their decimal equivalency. Alright, I'm finished spreading. Now let's talk about the pattern we have here. The pattern over here is really simple. Basically, the repetitive part of the decimal is the product of the numerator and 9. 2 over 9 is 2 times 9, which is 18. In 3 over 11, the product of 3 and 9 is 27, so the repetitive part will be 27. I hope you now see the pattern, and later on you will be comfortable transforming fractions with the denominator of 11 to decimal format. If you remember, I skipped the fractions with the denominator of 7. Well, now it's the time to talk about them. So first let me write all of the fractions of the denominator of 7 and their equivalency. So here they are, and please look carefully at the decimal of 1 over 7 because knowing this decimal will help us to find the rest of the fractions. Let me explain the pattern for the fractions with the denominator of 7. As we already know, 1 over 7 will be 0.142857, where 142857 will be repeating. So let's expand this decimal a little bit. In order to find 2 over 7, first we need to multiply 2 by 0.14, and we'll get 0.28. Then we find the first digit of 28. and the first digit is 2. Then we find 2 in the decimal of 1 over 7, and write the 6 digits starting with 2. So it will be 0.285714, and this will be the decimal for 2 over 7, with 285714 part constantly repeating. To find 3 over 7, first we multiply 3 by 0.14, and we get 0.42. The first digit will be 4. Now we can look back at 1 over 7 decimal and copy the 6-digit sequence starting with 4, and this will be the sequence repeating for our decimal. Hopefully you get the idea. Now let me quickly write the rest of the fractions and their decimals. Yes, so this is all of the fractions of the denominator of 7 and their decimal equivalency. You probably noticed that I didn't cover all of the possible fractions and their decimal equivalencies. The fractions which have a denominator of 12 and above, majority of them can be simplified into simpler fractions, from which we can determine the decimal format. Let's look at the problem. Here we have a fraction, 9 over 14. This fraction can be simplified to 4.5 over 7. Let's do some quick division. We subtract 4.2 from 4.5, and we have 3 remaining. The answer so far will be 0.6. We know that 3 over 7 will be 0.428571 repeating. So what we need to do now is add the 3.7 decimal to 0.6, and this will be 0.642857 with 428571 portion repeating. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel.